Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about a huge, ambitious idea, Panchayati Raj. It's the story of India's dream to put real political power not in the hands of politicians in the capital, but directly into the hands of people in its villages. It's a journey filled with incredible ideals, some really tough challenges, and what is basically an ongoing revolution in local democracy.
Okay, so to really get this, you have to understand that the whole story kicks off with this massive debate between two of India's most important founders. On one side, you have Mahatma Gandhi. He had this vision of village Swaraj, where every single village would basically be its own self-sufficient republic. But on the other side, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar had a huge concern. He looked at the traditional village and saw, because of the rigid caste system, a source of oppression. And this wasn't just some academic disagreement. This clash of ideas became the central tension that has shaped India's entire journey with local government. Now, the thing is, this idea of local people governing themselves, it isn't new at all. I mean, it has roots that go back centuries in India. You can see it in the sabhas and samitis of the ancient Vedic era, and even in Kautilya's Arthashastra, which laid out in detail how an ideal village should run. So this has been a recurring idea for a very, very long time.
Right, so after independence in 1947, the big challenge was how to take this ancient dream and make it a modern reality. And as the new country quickly found out, that was a lot easier said than done. This kicked off decades of trial and error, a long, complicated search for a system that would actually work.
And that road to reform was, well, pretty winding. There were some early steps back in the British Europe, but the real experiment started after independence. A whole series of committees were set up, each trying to crack the code. You had the Balwant-Rai Mehta Committee in '57, which came up with the famous three-tier system. In fact, Rajasthan was the first to give it a shot. But then, 20 years later, the Ashok Mehta Committee came along and said, maybe a two-tier model is better, to try and fix a system that was already looking pretty weak.
And through all these different attempts, one big problem kept cropping up. The GVK Rao Committee put it perfectly with this really powerful phrase: grass without roots. So what does that mean? Well, they were saying that these early local governments, these panchayats, they looked great on paper, but in reality, they had no real constitutional power, no real authority, and definitely no money. They were basically all show and no substance. So the big question was, how do you give roots to something so shallow?
And that brings us to the moment where everything changed. After all those decades of trying and failing, a landmark event in 1992 finally gave grassroots democracy the constitutional muscle it so desperately needed.
So here's why this was such a huge deal. The 73rd Amendment wasn't just another committee report. This wasn't a suggestion. This was a constitutional command. The era of states choosing whether or not to have local governance was over. Now it was mandatory. Every single state in India had to establish a real, functioning, empowered system of local government.
But this amendment wasn't just about political flowcharts, it was trying to change society itself. And one of its most radical, most revolutionary ideas was this: a mandatory reservation of at least 1/3 of all seats and all chairperson posts for women. I mean, think about that. This was a massive, game-changing move to ensure political empowerment at the most fundamental level. So, what did this new rulebook actually say? Well, it laid out a bunch of non-negotiables. It said you have to have a three-tier system. You must have direct elections for everyone. There had to be reservations for marginalized communities based on their population. And to stop them from being dismissed on a whim, every panchayat got a fixed 5-year term. Plus, you needed independent state election and finance commissions to make sure everything was fair and funded. But, it's one thing to have a great law written down. It's another thing entirely to make it work on the ground. And it turns out that old problem of grass without roots hasn't exactly gone away. Today, the biggest hurdle to real local power is often summed up as the problem of the 3 Fs: functions, funds, and functionaries. Think of it as the big 3 holding everything back. First, functions. State governments often just don't want to give up meaningful power and responsibilities. Second, funds. The panchayats have almost no power to raise their own money, so they're totally dependent on grants. And third, functionaries. They don't have enough dedicated staff and are often micromanaged by state-level bureaucrats. And if you want to know what that looks like in the real world, well, it means there's a ton of confusion because their duties overlap with state departments. The money they do get is usually tied to specific government schemes, so they can't decide local priorities. The local leaders themselves are often afraid to tax their own communities. And at the end of the day, state officials, like the block development officer, still hold a huge amount of power.
So with all these problems, you might be thinking, is this whole thing a failure? Well, not so fast. Despite all the hurdles, Panchayati Raj is still one of the most incredible, ambitious experiments in democracy anywhere in the world. And its core idea? It matters more today than ever.
The real heart of this entire system is something called the Gram Sabha, the village assembly. Now, this isn't a council of elected officials. No, the Gram Sabha is a meeting of every single registered voter in the village. Let me put it this way. In a normal representative democracy, you vote for someone to speak for you. In a participatory democracy, you get to speak for yourself. The Gram Sabha is where that happens, where any citizen can stand up, question their leaders, and make decisions directly.
So, it's pretty clear the journey of Panchayati Raj is far from over. It's an unfinished revolution, and it's still wrestling with that same fundamental debate we started with between Gandhi and Ambedkar. It really leaves us with this one crucial question. To be truly real, does democracy get built from the top down, flowing from the capital to the people? Or must it be built from the village up?